All right. Well, something happened. I'm Elijah Campbell alongside with Jack Veltri. We're here from the scene of the crime. This time, the perpetrator of the crime is North Florida, pulling off a season-opening upset of South Carolina here at Colonial Life Arena. Jack, there's a lot of places for us to start in this game, and you try not to overreact to one loss, but when looking at this just on the surface, you looked at a team last year that didn't have any bad losses in non-con. The only real bad losses they had on their resume were in conference play. This year, you start off on the wrong foot, losing what will eventually be a quad 4 game to North Florida, barring any type of miraculous North Florida season where they end up winning 20-plus games. It's a tough way to start the season, and it's not the end of the season, but man, year 3 under Lamont Paris, certainly off to the wrong foot tonight.
This put a real thorn in a lot of people's bushes for... Look, everyone had high expectations for this team after the way last year went. You won 26 games last year. You made the NCAA tournament. Just about everything went right for you. And almost everything that could have went wrong for you in this game definitely did. Now, let's give North Florida a lot of credit. Like, they played like a really good team. You know, I think it'd be ridiculous to have the narrative that North Florida is a bad team. And, okay, maybe they are by year's end. But on this night, the Ospreys played really well in this game. And honestly, I think they were more energized for it compared to South Carolina. I don't think South Carolina overlooked this game because you can't really be doing that in basketball when it's not like you're playing a great team next game either. I mean, SC State, you should be winning these games. At the same time, I think Lamont Paris kind of referenced it. I think they just lacked a little bit of energy in this game, and you saw North Florida fighting for every ball, every rebound, and they made shots.
They did. And that's the thing. When going into this game, too, North Florida, one thing that everyone knows they do really well, that's shoot threes. They shoot a ton of threes, and I think knowing that and knowing exactly what North Florida's strength as a team, even though they have a lot of new faces, like a lot of teams in college basketball, I did find it to be really puzzling as to why North Florida was able to get so many open looks from three. I didn't think the closeouts were really good. No. I think there were a lot of defensive breakdowns. Lamont said it was communication. Jamari in the postgame tonight, Jamari Thomas mentioned that it was some just bad closeouts. Either way, you're going to play a lot better three-point shooting teams in terms of them like that make them, and you're going to play a lot of teams that can take you off the dribble. The on-ball defense wasn't acceptable in the second half. In the first half, it seemed like it was different, though. Zach Davis caused some turnovers. There were a lot of turnovers that are being caused. I was really perplexed at how the defense broke down in the second half, considering I thought for the most part in the first they were pretty good at bringing the energy and turning that defense into offense.
Yeah, and I thought in the second half even, they got some key steals. Like, honestly, they played pretty well pressurizing North Florida at times. It's just like you said, Elijah, I feel like there were a lot of open looks from three. And it's like, obviously they do their homework and stuff. It's not like they come
right.
Like Lamont said that. Like, it's not like they come into these games just unprepared and overlooking teams and stuff. They do their homework. It's just it felt like there were a lot of open looks from three and maybe not playing as on ball as you would like, obviously, like you said. And you just got to be better from that area because, look, you're going to face other teams that like to shoot the three ball. It just so happened tonight you faced a team that took more threes than anyone last season, and that's kind of the same deal for North Florida this year. That's their MO, and when they were hitting, it makes a big difference. Obviously, threes count for more than anything, and the biggest issue LP seemed to really have in this game, there are a lot of problems with this team in this game, but when you foul on a three-point shot...
Yeah, he didn't let that one go.
He said he wanted to go all season without South Carolina doing that. They did it in the first game, and so that dream is crushed of his, and unfortunately so for him. Sorry about that, LP. But, look, man, the fact of the matter is you made mistakes that last year's team, I'd argue to say, probably wouldn't have made. The thing with last year is, and I hate to keep bringing that up because last year's team, despite their flaws, they overcame them. You know, whenever times got tough, they worked through it. It's just one game, and a lot can change here over the course of the season. But, man, it is a real rough way to go into the season with such high expectations and then to just drop a game against a probable quad 4 team by year's end.
Yeah, and I would get, like I said, try not to overreact to a lot of games like this. But this loss is really bad for a multitude of reasons. One, an Atlantic Sun team did come into your house and out-rebound you by 6. In no universe, I feel like, is that remotely acceptable. I think they know it's unacceptable. It's just one of those things that I do think mentally there was some overlooking them, because rebounds at times are a hustle stat. There's not anybody in that North Florida team that is bigger, faster, stronger than anyone on the South Carolina team. You should not be getting out-rebounded by a margin of 6, especially at the end of the game where North Florida had about 3 cracks at the apple before banking in a 3. And I had a basketball coach in high school, Jack, always tell us whenever we'd play teams that we were supposed to beat on the road especially, but it was mostly when we played teams that we were supposed to beat. He says, if you play around and you mess with it for 3.5 quarters, you have opened the door for BS to happen in the 4th. And when they banked in that 3 to give them their first lead of the second half, North Florida did, as a result of 2 offensive rebounds, I think both of which hit the ground after they missed from the rim, they invited BS to happen. They invited the circumstance of a banked 3 to ultimately win this game. That one, I think, the free throws were bad, because you shot 14 of 25. It's got to be better. You got to be able to make teams pay whenever they foul you, and you have this big, discrepancy at the free throw line. But then, in no universe, man, is a team like North Florida supposed to come in here, in your house, mind you, where we are, and out rebound you. That's an effort thing. That's a 1,000% effort thing, and I think that's the one thing when we look back at this game in a couple months and we're trying to review the season, we're reviewing resumes, you're going to be kicking yourself when you overlooked this North Florida team, especially if it keeps you out of the tournament.
No,
a lot can change from now to then. Who knows? If North Florida wins their conference too and they end up having 20-plus wins, it maybe won't be as bad. Maybe it's a Q3 loss. But this is a night too where you set your season back, and now you're going to have to go. You're going to have to work harder to be able to overcome this. It's really hard to overcome some of these losses. Not saying it can't be done, but at the same time, when you look at how this could have been avoided, rebounding better, getting down for loose balls. LP mentioned not getting down for loose balls, and North Florida being just more up for the challenge of making the hustle plays in this game. And also doesn't help too, you missed a ton of layups. Colin Murray-Boyle's shots he normally hits, missed a lot of. Nick Pringle missed a lot from around the basket. I think the shot creation was all right for the most part. I would like to have seen more movement off the ball. I thought the offense was really stagnant.
They were.
Jacoby Wright was a bright spot in terms of where is this team going to find their offense.
Yeah.
And Jacoby Wright off the bounce, I thought made a lot of really good plays tonight. But there's got to be more. There's got to be more paint touches. There's got to be more offensive creation. At some point in the game, it can't be one guy dribbling the ball. It can't be Colin taking somebody one-on-one on the elbow and 4 dudes standing and watching. It's not going to work. So there was a lot of things on offense where it looked stale after a while. It looked like there was some disconnect, some deferring. It was pretty juiceless on the offensive side of the ball sometimes too. Really, the best offense they had was in transition, which is fine.
Yeah.
But in a game against a team like North Florida, where you're bigger, faster, stronger, and more athletic, and you are every good as good as a shooting team as they are, then there's just no excuse for the offense to kind of take long periods where it basically takes a nap. And I feel like there was a lot of nap taking on offense tonight.
It just felt very slow, like you said.
Yeah.
And it took a while for shots to develop. And look, one thing that we kind of noticed in the exhibition game last week was that they took a lot of threes, obviously. I'm talking about South Carolina, and they missed a lot of threes. Tonight you went 5 of 16 from 3, which inherently isn't as bad as it was last week. But the shot selection, I just felt like wasn't there. I felt like maybe I'm not going to say they weren't confident in their three-point shot, but at the same time, they had looks. It's just they really couldn't get anything going. And the one thing that I feel like you are missing, if there is anything you're missing from last year's team, is that reliable shooter you can count on. Like the Michi Johnsons, Talon Coopers of the world, BJ Max.
Yeah.
You knew what you were getting with those guys, even with some of their occasional inconsistencies. But with this year's team, it's like you don't have that proven guy right now. You thought maybe Jamari Thomas was going to be that guy, but he tonight struggled a little bit at times. He went 4 of 8, which is fine in its own right. But there were times where it's just like you said, some of these close shots, like Colin Murray-Boyle's missing the layup, Nick Pringle missing some shots. Again, they missed out on their key opportunities, and the biggest of which, in my opinion, and look, it's going to happen, but the free throws, man. The free throws.
Yeah, sometimes
the
that
free
happens.
throws. You look at this as a 3-point game in a game that you lost. Not saying the free throws would make a huge difference, but you make 4 of those, hypothetically, you should win the game. So look, it's a game that you really are going to be frustrated about. South Carolina, by year's end, you're going to be like, how did we lose this game? Because they'll be fine. I think that's what people need to hear after watching this video, is that the season's not over. Like I got someone that texted me earlier saying the season's over after this game.
It's not.
Like, it's one game. Teams have lost games like this before. This is college basketball, where upsets happen more frequently than any other sport at the Division I level. It is going to happen. Like, South Carolina just didn't play well enough tonight to win this game, and North Florida wanted it more. Simple as that. You learn from it, you move on, and you get ready for Friday, and then you go from there.
Yep, Friday they'll be taking on South Carolina State. Tip-off at 7 o'clock, I do believe, and we'll have that for you here on 107.5 The Game. A lot of reactions tomorrow, too. A lot of thoughts. Season's not over, like Jack said. I agree wholeheartedly. To quote Karen Carpenter, we've only just begun to live in this basketball season. We got like 29 games left on the schedule at bare minimum. There's a lot to go, a lot to fix, but there's still a lot to go. We'll discuss this tomorrow on our airways at 107.5 The Game, as well, continuing the reaction to the football team getting that big win over Texas A&M, previewing the football game on Saturday against Vanderbilt, but we'll also see how this team responds, and pun slightly intended, rebounds against South Carolina State. Again, Friday night at 7 o'clock. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Jack Veltri here on 107.5 The Game. All week long, you'll be on with Tyler all week. I'll be hanging out with Jay from 3 to 6. A whole lot to get into. So we'll see you again on Friday night.